What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith. I appreciate you taking the time on this beautiful Friday. Hope you're getting out there enjoying this sun. It's been a wild day for me. Sorry, I have the door cracked a little bit. Need to be able to hear what's going on out there. But truly appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to throw them my way. But we're going to jump right into this with the Eagles and the Saints game status report for week 17. So we know who's out. We got some people questionable. We got one guy doubtful that we've been talking about all week. So we're going to jump right into this, and then we'll look at the updated depth charts for both teams with all of the people that are listed out, questionable, all that stuff listed. So you'll get to see what these teams will look like for Sunday's game. And then, of course, tomorrow after 3 o'clock, I will have those practice squad elevations, any updated game status reports, and then, of course, an updated depth chart. But let's get right into this. First up, with the Eagles game status report, we know that Lane Johnson, Avonte Maddox, pretty much going to miss the regular season. Hopeful that they're both ready for the playoffs. Let's go. Jalen Hurts, doubtful for this game. Looks like they're planning for Gardner Minshew to start. We talked about this all week. Look, if he's not 100%, you don't bring him back. I think Gardner Minshew can go out here, clinch this #1 seed for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then what you do is you get Jalen Hurts healthy and you play him next week. That's right. Even with the clinch, I would play him for the first half. I would at least, allow him to stay fresh a little bit because he'll get rusty. So you don't want that. If we get the first round bye, obviously he's going to have that week off. So get him out there, let him play a little bit, maybe even just a few drives, whatever it may be. But being precautious, maybe this week he's an emergency quarterback. We've talked about that option. So we'll see what the Eagles decide to do, but it looks like Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback for the Eagles. So we know now, ladies and gentlemen, and look, Gardner Minshew almost beat the Cowboys. So as long as we're not turning the ball over 4 times, giving up 20 points off turnovers, giving our defense such short fields all the time, we can definitely beat this Saints team, and they're pretty banged up. So let's take a look at this game status report for the New Orleans Saints. And some big news here. Starting safety Marcus May will be out. Starting left guard Andres Pete will be out also. So 2 major blows. We talked about those throughout the week. And then Dwayne Washington, backup running back, dealing with an illness, still out. Then you have questionable backup safety Justin Evans. Marshawn Lattimore hasn't played since week 5, but practiced in a limited capacity this week. So we'll see if he can actually play on Sunday. Chris Olave missed last week. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. And then Pete Werner, their starting linebacker. So a lot of really important pieces here. And once you see it on the depth chart, you'll see which actual, guys are starters and all that great stuff. It's color-coded so you can see who's out, questionable, all that stuff. So let me take a look at these comments real quick, and then we'll jump right into these depth charts. Gardner, we trust. Yeah, man. And the Eagles, I trust. So Gardner will be able to come in and get it done. And happy Friday to you as well. Sorry, this morning I had no idea what you were talking about. When I say Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden remind me of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, what I mean is A.J. Brown being the massive, bulky monster. That is not Larry Fitzgerald. That would be Anquan Bolden. Larry Fitzgerald was the smooth route running. Dude, sure-handed. That's Devontae Smith. So that was my comparison there. I know you were a little confused by that this morning, but Larry Fitzgerald had some toughness, but so does Devontae Smith. So that was my point. The skinnier guy, Devontae and Larry, and then the jacked guys, Anquan and AJ. So you see week 17 now. I think people see what I mean preseason when I said that's what those guys remind me of. And bro, 2 1,000-yard receivers for the first time in Eagles history. So all about it. Yes, he will, Samuel. I agree with you. I thought he could get the job done against the Cowboys, and he threw for over 350 yards. He did well. He had a good amount of mistakes, and you obviously can't do as much with this offense when you have Gardner Minshew at the helm that you can with your MVP quarterback. But it is what it is. It's a good team, and we have injuries, but next man up, man. So Jack Driscoll step in for Lane Johnson, Josiah Scott Dewey again for Avonte Maddox, Gardner Minshew step in for Jalen Hurts. So no excuses here. And the year we won the Super Bowl, we had like 9 starters out. So I don't care. I've seen it already. People are asking the media, the season's over. I knew it. Oh, and it's like, Jesus, dude, please, God help us. But I think we'll be just fine. When it hurts on the field, when they win the division title here, yeah, man, I'm with you on that, John. That was something I said, if he's healthy, let him get out there and, at least play like the first quarter, first half, something. And, go out here, let him clinch that #1 seed and the division title. Obviously playing at an MVP level, he's earned that. But I think the ultimate goal for him is the Super Bowl. So we want to be smart here. And if he's not 100%, this is the great choice here, the right choice. You let him sit and you allow him to be ready for the games that really matter, and that's in the playoffs. So, hey, let's go earn that Super Bowl, baby. That's what I'm all about. Think this is a mistake. He's going to play half of football. It should be this Sunday. I don't, man. I do not want to see him get nerve damage and have his career ruined over a game that Gardner Minshew could win. So I'm going to disagree with you on that, man. I know a lot of people want to rush him back, but not me. I don't think we need to rush anyone. It's the Saints. I'm not afraid of the Saints as most people are out there that I've been seeing. Season's over. Eagles aren't going to be able to clinch. I highly disagree. I don't think we need Jalen Hurts for that. I don't think we need to rush him back and, try to ruin his career for this game. I think it's smart to sit him this week because he's not ready. And then if he is, because it's doubtful, he's not out yet. So if he shows something tomorrow and they're like, you know what, let's have him as an emergency quarterback. That's what I said earlier in the video. Play him a quarter, play him first half, whatever. Have him as an emergency if he's really still banged up. But then in the Giants game, I want him to play that game, and I want him to play at least a few drives. I'd like a first quarter, maybe a first half, but I don't want him to get rusty here. This team needs to get clicking on all cylinders, and there's some new pieces, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Well, I definitely didn't see that way with your comment when you said you mean Larry Fitzgerald like AJ Brown. I did not know what you meant there, but no, it was the opposite. I had them what they reminded me of as they look, but no doubt, my man. Glad you got that on the same page there. Think 1 week is going to stop nerving him? Yeah, I do, definitely. And that's how those things work, So luckily, he'll get another week to rest. And the dude's an animal. So we already know how awesome he is. But we obviously want him to be awesome for the next 10, 15 years. So when you have nerve damage on the plate there and you can avoid it, that's a no-brainer. Any doctor would tell you that. So being smart here, love to see it. The Eagles continue to do the right thing throughout the season. And, health has always been the #1 priority for Nick Sirianni, being really smart about it the last couple of years. And, Lane Johnson, we talked about this the other day. I think this dude's putting himself, in harm's way by not getting surgery, but he wants to go out and win the Super Bowl. So I can't, blame him. But I'm a little concerned there. But you can't really do much about it. He's not going to get the surgery. He's got to just play through it, But for me, Jalen Hurts, you can be smart about it. We have a bunch of big games coming up. This Saints team ain't shit. Giants, we can beat them without Jalen too. So I'm not with the media on that. I'm not afraid of these teams. But then again, those people said the Eagles couldn't win 8 games. Hurts couldn't develop. So got to take what they think with a grain of salt. For me, I think we can easily beat the Saints. Just like I said last week, we could beat the Cowboys. We were 6 points away without those 4 turnovers. I think we get that job done. So I think, again, I want him to be healthy. Most important, not only for this season to go win this Super Bowl, but going to need him for the next 10, 15 years. So let's go. Liz in the building. Let's go. Now, this Friday is getting started. A very happy Friday to you. Hope you're doing well. I've been under the weather the past few days, but today was already insane. So I'm ready to have a more relaxing end of the night. And then I'm going to jump back on later tonight. You guys know it's Fan Friday. That's right. We didn't have it because of the holidays last week, but still got to talk to you a little bit. But I will be back later tonight, and we'll be going live talking about every single thing you guys want to talk about, whatever questions. But I am going to get cutting this off here in a second. I'm going to get through your questions here, but I will definitely be back to talk about all this stuff. What's your main concern with our defense versus the Saints? Well, Chris Olave, he's questionable. Alvin Kamara is a very good player. Go check out those top matchups from last night. That video's got all that information you'd like to know, or tune in later tonight and love to talk about all of these matchups and everything else that we do on Fridays. As fans, we all want Jalen to play, of course, but not to be selfish. Exactly, man. Look, I'd love to see him. I mean, I was one of the 1 or 2 people that believed in this kid and, was all aboard trying to get people, teaching them what quarterback development was, doing everything I could. And, I don't know football because quarterbacks don't develop. Well, he's playing at an MVP level. So, I get it. Now everybody, it's always reactionary. People just react to what Dan Sileo or Elliott Shore Parks told them. And it's like, bro, y'all start listening to people that actually know what they're talking about. You probably wouldn't get so upset about absolutely nothing, So it's funny to me, but, Jalen Hurts, we've talked about this. You got to be careful with him with this. It's his throwing shoulder. Not going to rush him back out there. Not going to do that. I don't, and that's why the Eagles aren't doing it. Smart thing to do. So, what's going on? Further AM in the building. Let's go. Love to see it, dude. Hope you're doing well. I'm just about to head out here. We just went over the game status reports for both teams and the updated depth charts for both teams. And then, tomorrow I'll be back at 3 and I'll have the practice squad elevations, any updates to the game status reports, and then another updated depth chart. But later tonight, come back. All of your questions, whatever you want to talk about, you want to break down those top matchups I talked about, you want to talk about the behind enemy lines, everything we talked about with the coaches, their stats, their standings, whatever it is, I'll bring all the graphics with me so you'll be able to see all their stats, all their standings, all that stuff you would want to know or need to know. I'm going to keep you up to date with it, but I hope to see you then. If you guys are watching this later, you can always comment down below. Always down to talk. Some birds. My man Ted joining in right at the end. What's going on, brother? More concerned with the defense, especially in the middle of our secondary. Look, not me too much. As I've mentioned, try to teach the media all year what this defense is, and when they can't understand that it's beyond what a 4-3 or a 3-4. They don't know that real life isn't Madden, where it's a zone. You have to stay in this circle that's colored yellow here. It's been tough, So we got to beat the media. We got to teach everybody. And I think the funniest thing to me is the Eagles defense setting all these records, one of the best defenses we've had, and it's great to watch such a great defense. But it's like when you look at this, I'm going to look at these depth charts. I completely didn't show them to you. Jesus Christ. But give me a second here. But if you look at this defense, I wanted to show you the stats here. I mean, and you take all the numbers with a grain of salt, but the fact that we're about to beat the team record for sacks, which is 62, we have 61 right now, 4.1 per game. We're the first team in NFL history to have 6+ sacks in 4 straight games, and we're about to be the first team in NFL history with 4 players with 10+ sacks. So don't listen to Dan Sileo. Don't listen to the people that said Jalen Hurts couldn't develop. They don't know what they're talking about. Having a top defense is actually a really good thing. So, hey, let them hate on it. I'm going to go watch my team win the Super Bowl. Then I'll watch them all become fans after. I knew they were the best. I was a fan from day one. And we'll hear it just like with Jalen Hurts, man. But I get it. The media is definitely doing their best to push any narrative they can. They don't know what they're watching. And they're always going to have to blame someone, So it's comical at this point. But I think this defense is going to go out, cause havoc here, man. And we talked about it last night with the matchups. Dude. Go check that one out. It's going to be a great one. But let's look at this quickly. Jalen Hurts, doubtful. So Gardner Minshew going to step in with Ian Book as the backup. Beyond that, we know Lane Johnson's out. So Jack Driscoll going to finish up the regular season probably as right tackle. If not, maybe they move Mailata to right tackle, Dillard to left tackle. Not a fan of Mailata over there on the right, but it is what it is. But everybody else beyond that, good to go there. You saw Tyree placed on IR too. So not a big deal. Got all of our weapons. Minshew, Sirianni, Steichen figure out how to use all those weapons. Let's go beat some ass. Now, that special defense here, top 3 in the NFL. You look at this edge rush. You look at the interior. I mean, holy shit. And then you look at the linebacking duo. For most of the season, they were the best duo throughout the league. Kaiser White has struggled last couple of weeks. Need him to step it up. But then that secondary, phenomenal. But, of course, C.J. Gardner-Johnson goes out. Avonte Maddox goes out. So now, got to plug and play, baby. So Reed Blankenship in at safety again. Josiah Scott filling in at nickel. And, they're going to be moving pieces. We talk about the versatility of these defensive backs. So figure out what you got to figure out. Shut down Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. I'm not afraid of Andy Dalton. We talked about those trio sets of, the tight ends they use. Go check that video out. Broke it all down. Now, special teams, I did you all a favor. Took a wild guess that Brett Kern would be elevated tomorrow from the practice squad. So go ahead and put him right in there for you. But yeah, he will be tomorrow, and that will be the last elevation for him. And then maybe they just sign him to the active roster. We'll see how the roster shakes out, what they've got going on, because we're going to have to open up a spot for C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well. But you're going to need a spot for Kern because Sippos won't be able to come back unless you just sign someone else to the practice squad for a week. But I don't know because, if they're on the practice squad, you can elevate them, unlimited amount of times, only 2 guys per week. But we'll see how the Eagles play that game. Beyond that, everyone else is healthy, and the special teams has really been looking good as of late. So keep it up. Stay healthy. Let's get through this one. And now the Saints, let's take a gander at what they will look like with all of their injuries going on. So you see Chris Olave here, questionable. Anybody in red is either on the IR or out. So red means no go for the game. So you see left guard Andres Pete is out. Will they have Penning, Kidd, Young, who will step in there? Only time will tell, but Cesar Ruiz already on IR, the same as Greenidge. So dealing with a plethora of injuries when you've got, most of your receivers, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Deontay Hardy, they had some decent receivers even with a crappy quarterback like Andy Dalton. I would play Jameis Winston, is what it is. But if you're missing Chris Olave, that is going to be a massive blow. I love that Rashid Shaheed kid. Got to watch out for him on offense and special teams. Talked about that last night. Go check that video out. But Chris Olave, man, that's going to be an important piece we will keep our eyes on. Now, up next on the defensive side of the ball, you see here their defensive line, good to go here. But then their linebackers, Pete Werner is questionable to play here. DeMarco Jackson's on IR. So dealing with, Caden Ellis as a starter now. And we talked about him and Christian Ellis being brothers, all that great stuff in the top matchups too. So happy for him, but going to get smoked on Sunday. Now, that's secondary. We've talked about Marshawn Lattimore, the fact that he hasn't played since week 5, but he could be back this week. So that would be a huge plus for them. They have just been plugging and playing, adding guys like Isaac Yiadom and Chris Harris Jr. to their roster, but they drafted Alontae Taylor. Paulson Adebo is really, I liked him last year. He's really talented, but he's been stepping it up, really underrated in this league. But the big blow is Marcus May out again. And he's been dealing with injuries this year, but Justin Evans, guys like Daniel Sorensen able to step in, PJ Williams, but Evans is actually questionable. So might rely a lot on Sorensen and Williams, maybe a little bit of Gray in there, but they do have Tyrann Mathieu. Don't miss the nickel corner all the way over there below the on the road to victory symbol, Bradley Roby with Chris Harris as depth. Then on to the special teams unit. This one's intriguing here because you see, I'd mentioned Shaheed there as their return specialist, but look at the depth there. The guys I did have listed here or listed on their chart, Landry and Hardy both on IR, and now Dwayne Washington is out. So very intriguing here, to say the least. They've got Marquez Callaway, though, if they need him, but very intriguing. You've got guys like Traquan Smith, but Deontay Hardy, Jarvis Landry, they are off of the active roster and on IR. So very unfortunate news for them, but that's all I've got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I almost forgot to show you that there, but you guys always get me drifting off the seat. But I'll be back later tonight. If you guys want to ask me a bunch of questions, all that, this 5-minute video clearly just turned into a 20, But if you need anything, please feel free to reach out, whether it's a question about the Eagles, the game, whatever the hell's going on, or you just want to talk about life, whatever it may be, please feel free to reach on out. Any of these platforms, you can always comment down below. But until later tonight for Fan Friday, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and as always, go Birds!